Hello, welcome to the April meeting of the Parks and Recreation Board of Directors. Pledge of Allegiance. Vane, I forgot to ask you if you would say the Pledge of Allegiance. Vane, would you?
You put it on the minutes.
I know, would you please lead us?
I'll try. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you very much. Please turn your cell phone ringers off. And Kate, would you mind doing the roll call, please?
Absolutely. Vane Lashua,
Here.
Ann Kirshner,
Here.
Carrie Piper,
Here.
Amy Hammonds,
Here.
Julie Fisher,
Here.
Angie McMullen.
Here.
I apologize.
All right, thank you. The minutes, you all have a copy of the minutes in your packets from the March meeting. Were there any additions or corrections? Did we miss anything? I thought it looked accurate. Anyone?
I'll make a motion to accept.
And a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, we will approve the minutes from the March meeting.
Don't forget to sign it.
What's that?
Don't
forget to sign. Oh, yeah, you'll
We
still
always
sign
get out of
it.
here without
Yes.
signing stuff.
Yes. Marla, you're up. The superintendent's report, please.
Yes. So through the month of March and April, we had a lot go on. Logan, our new sports director, he's been at the park for 3 weeks now and he's doing a great job. He's jumped right into soccer season. We were right in the middle of that and a lot going on. And so he jumped right in and picked up where I had left off. And he is moving right along into baseball season, t-ball, softball, and that is getting a great jump start. He has some great plans and some great goals for this year, so we're excited to have him on board. The next thing I want to talk about is Christmas in the Park. That is a program that, or something that we want to bring to the park, is lighting up Roberts Park through the month of December. And so I've formed a committee and we actually meet tomorrow, the 25th, to start the preparations for December. And so we plan on having Christmas light displays, drive-through in Roberts Park for families to come and drive through. We're hoping that this will go right along with the Polar Express that comes to town, along with what is happening right there at the Polar Express and right downtown with the Winterfest, I think is what it's called. And then hopefully they'll stay and drive down to the park and drive through. So we're hoping to encourage lots of business owners, organizations, churches, family members, any community members to participate in this event. And we are going to start these preparations of planning it, and then we'll start calling businesses and organizations and seeing who would like to be a part of this. We also hope to offer on weekends throughout December something for families to come and do, whether it's carriage rides or fun activities, meeting Santa, different things like that. So we hope to offer a lot of things throughout December at the park. The Living Well, Aging Well program, this is something that I've been talking about for a while now, and this program, I'm having a meeting this Friday that's going to explain a little bit more about this program, kind of the vision and view, and what activities we want to do at the park. And we just really want to facilitate this program to offer mental and physical health to individuals over the age of 50. And so it's going to be a great program, and I'm looking for community members to get involved and help out and participate. The next thing is sports. So we had soccer began April 8th. That was our opening day. It's been going great. Like I said at the last meeting, we had over 500 sign up for soccer. So it's a pretty busy Saturday morning out at the soccer complex.
It's cold.
So it has been cold, yes.
Always
Yes.
It's always well seasoned out there.
Yeah. So we also just finished baseball drafts. We had closed them and we've opened them. We had opened them back up last week due to Alquina not having their league anymore, and so we wanted to offer that if anyone from that league wanted to come play with our league at our league, they could. And so we opened that back up, and so that is going on. And I'll let Logan talk more about the sports when it's his turn. Community participation, just some things that we did throughout that I participated in, and so did we as well. April 6th was our Brownies and Bunnies event at the park. That went really well. We partnered with Firefly and Department of Child Services and many other organizations, and we opened up the Miller Building, and Channel 3 came and they took pictures with the Easter Bunny of all the kids that came to the event. We had tons of activities. It was a well-attended event, and we're just looking forward to doing it again next year. Some upcoming events for the month of May. May 6th is opening day for baseball. Earthwork begins on the J. Long Memorial Park in the middle of May, so we're really excited about that process to begin. May 27th is opening day for the pool, and May 30th, Summer Discovery will start. So we have a lot coming up for this summer.
Fantastic. Anybody have any questions for Marla? I heard some really great things about your community involvement with the Bunnies and Brownies and all of the different partners that you had there, and how pleased everyone was to be invited and able to participate. So I'm really looking forward to what you guys come up with for the December festivities for Christmas and all the different community involvement and getting people in and moving.
Yeah, we are excited as well. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you. Logan, welcome. 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 Do you have a report for us? What have you been doing lately?
Yeah, so like Marla said, soccer is thriving. Every Saturday is pretty busy out there. Baseball just ended with the drafts. Like I said, we opened it up for another half a week for the Alquina group that wanted to come in. And then, yeah, so now I'm just working on finalizing the teams and making the schedules. And then, like we mentioned last time, opening day this year we won't be doing any games, but it's going to be a big field day event kind of thing. So we'll have like home run derbies, fastest lap around the bases, raffles for bats and gloves and stuff like that. So we should have Kona Ice there too, so some vendors as well. So it should be fun and entertaining for everybody.
Okay.
How many kids do we have signed up for baseball? I'm assuming this is including T-ball, coach's pitch, and kid pitch.
So I don't have an exact number. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Ballparks.
I would say probably around 200.
Okay. How is that divided? Where's our biggest group of kids? Is it the little guys, the middle, or the big guys?
T-ball is still a big hit. So T-ball has about 100 kids in the 3 and 4 age group.
Okay.
And also they have the 5 and 6 age group as well. So T-ball has the most numbers, and then.
So how many teams will we have in the like 10 to 12?
We have 5 teams.
5
teams?
teams?
So we have about 55 players. In
Okay.
that group. Yeah.
Okay. And then coach's pitch?
We have 7 teams.
7?
So
That's great.
yeah, so a little over 70 kids.
Okay.
Fantastic.
And then the little ones who are so much fun to watch.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, it's super fun out there.
Are you going to have a parade this year at all, or just meet down at the field?
Yep. So the parade is May 6th. It starts at 2 p.m.
Okay.
And then
After
Yeah.
soccer's over then.
Yes, correct. So they'll be able to make their way from the soccer fields and make their way to the parade.
And I'm assuming the parade route will be as it always is.
No, well, as it was last year. Remember last year, we changed it?
That's,
And
It
so
was-
we're keeping it as it was last year.
it got shorter.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
From the courthouse to Sixth
Sixth
Street
Street, and then down.
and then down the hill.
Yeah, instead of going all the way down to eight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all the way down to
Charles, yeah.
8 and then winding
Yeah.
around. So
Yeah,
we'll
so-
be going in the entrance, what I call the old entrance, down the big hill.
Yeah, down the big hill. Well, they're both big hills, but
Yeah, yeah,
yes.
Yep, the main entrance.
Right next to
Yep,
Schommel's.
Yep.
right next to Schommel's,
Yeah.
yeah, because we didn't use that for a long
And
time.
then no games that day, but
No
lots of
games that
fun
day.
activities and
Yeah.
keeping the kids busy and excited and
Oh, yeah.
celebrating the day.
Yeah,
That's
getting ready
the-
for the.
That's a really busy day. That's the
Alright.
pancake
Okay.
breakfast,
the
pancake
following
breakfast,
week after that.
a
we'll get
track
started.
meet.
Okay.
and the prom.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
there's
busy day that day.
lots to do that day.
Yep,
Yes.
yep.
Please reach out to any board members, and we'll talk more about lending our help and support to
Okay.
getting those fields ready. I know that it can be a daunting task
Yeah,
with
yeah, yeah.
with everything else. So we'll talk about that more this week,
Okay.
about
yeah.
how we can help.
Okay, yes, I'm also looking for a bunch of volunteer help to, help do all the games and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'll be reaching out to you guys for
Okay.
sure. So,
Okay.
thank you.
All right. Okay, is that what you got for us? Yeah. Fantastic. All right. Moving on to old business. Marla, you have brought us the ordinance request.
Yeah, we discussed this last month, and we just, at that moment, weren't ready to make any kind of final decisions, and so I wanted to bring it back around again for any discussion and see if you guys had any updated questions, but I'll run through quickly what recommendations I have for our fee schedule. So the yellow on the side is what I'm either requesting be changed, or there might be some questions of. But the first yellow section is the John Miller Center. We did not have originally on our fee schedule the table linens, napkins, kitchen, dinnerware, all of that. It is part of our fee schedule, it has always been, but it's not been on here. And so we just wanted to add it to this so that everyone was aware of what those prices were. And so nothing was changed, it's just been added to this. The next section is the Miller Center scoreboard being added to the fee schedule as well, rental for that. And then for anybody that like rents the gym for games or such and they need that scoreboard.
Does that come with an operator?
No,
It's easy to do.
it is pretty easy to do.
I have a question on,
If they want to help pay for somebody to operate it, I'll find somebody.
don't ask. I've only done that for 40 years. On this nonprofit rate, am I understanding the linens and stuff at the Miller Center, it says not applicable?
Right.
It's the same for everybody.
It's just the
It's
same.
the same price
it's
for
the same
everyone.
Yeah,
price-
because
It's
that's
the same price for everybody. So regardless if you are a not-for-profit, if you use this stuff, then this is your fee schedule.
Yes. Mhm.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So the next one down is the, it just kind of goes along with the James Roberts building. It doesn't really necessarily fit on that exact line. But there's just been question in the past. We have the theater. The
Imagine.
IPA. Yeah,
Imagine.
thank you.
Fine Arts.
I lost their names.
That's right.
I apologize for that. So they typically rent our building for an entire week, and they do that for multiple weeks out of the year, and sometimes they rent it 2 weeks in a row. And so they were just requesting, and I agree, it would be easier if there was just like a flat rate. Instead of them trying to figure out how many hours they're gonna be there on Monday, how many hours on Tuesday, and all of that. And so, we just kind of came up with a Sunday to Saturday rental that includes the kitchen. And then I'm also recommending that anybody that rents the entire building for the entire week can also put their advertisement on our electrical sign out front by Park Road for that $700 fee for the week. And that will just help make things less complicated when they're trying to rent it, or anyone else that wants to rent it for the entire week. So that was my recommendation for that. We also discussed whether we add the kitchen rental price of $25 to the rental price of the building, which is $30 per hour, or we remove it completely. Because that is a building that is not, we do not staff it during those hours, and the kitchen is kind of a part of that building, and so we do not have, we had like less than 5 people rent it last year. So it's just kind of one of those things. Do we want to keep it on the schedule? We're fine to keep it on the schedule. Or do we add it, or just do away with it altogether? So that was another thing that I wanted to discuss. Also, the covered bridge, once that is completed, there have been multiple phone calls of people wanting to know if they could rent the bridge, or if it's going to be available for rent. And so that price was, it's the suggested price, so of $50. And then the final thing that I have is the birthday party day pass being added as an option. And this is where the pool will be open to public, but if somebody wanted to do a birthday party, they could buy the birthday party day pass. This includes 10 kids and 2 adult entries. They will have a 2-hour tent included in that pass, and they can use that tent for 2 hours, and with that they could do their they could have whatever food we decide, whether it's a pizza or if they want to get something like a hot dog or something from our concession stands. So they would get food, drink, and they would be able to bring in their birthday cake or whatever they would like to, as a treat. They would have that to be able to be under the tent in a designated area. And then the birthday child will receive a jump in the line wristband for our slides, age permitted. And so they could go down the slides, and they get to, because it's their birthday and they have that special band, they can jump the line.
Skip one.
So, so that was my recommendation, just to add some fun for the day, and an option to do birthday parties during the day if they would like to.
We
So.
decided, we were talking about last time that tent would be, if you're looking at the slides and you're coming in the building, it would be over to the right-hand side in that kind of open area.
Possibly, it would be on the left or the right, depending on where it fits best.
That thing on the right would seem to be a little larger space.
Yeah.
My only concern was logistically was keeping that party space without, and there's no kind of barrier there. I don't know whether you might want to rope it off with caution tape, and this is a private party.
Yeah, well, that's what the tent would be for, and we would just get one of those pop-up tents.
Okay.
And it would be, if we had a birthday party for that day, we would just put the tent up, and that would be a designated area for that birthday party.
Okay.
If we don't have one, then that tent can come down, and people can use
Okay.
that space as needed.
Okay.
Okay. Questions? What do you guys think? What are your thoughts?
The Roberts Building kitchen is not much of a kitchen. It's just kind of there.
Yeah.
And just keep it all one, and because of the size of the kitchen and the equipment in the kitchen, my suggestion would be just put it in with the building rental. Not have it separate at all. And whether do we want to add money to the rental for the kitchen, or do we just want to have it go with the rental of the building, you get the small kitchen?
I think since we only had it 5 times last year, why penalize everybody else for it? That's my thoughts on it. Is just go ahead and
Absorb it?
Yeah.
Yeah. You get the little kitchen when you rent the building.
yeah,
It's all included.
yes,
Yeah.
that would be my.
Yeah.
I was gonna say leave it as is, because for those 5 people who really wanna use the kitchen, you know, if we know they're using the kitchen, then we need to make sure that we pay extra special attention to cleaning it. And that's gonna take just a little bit more. And then the people who don't wanna use the kitchen, if they use the kitchen, then that's on them because they're liars. You know, I mean, like,
Yeah, and the kitchen,
It
it
is a
does need to stay
frequent
clean.
question I ask.
yeah, so if you're gonna use the kitchen, pay for it. If you're not gonna use the kitchen, then
I
don't
mean,
use
we
the
do
kitchen.
have an ice machine in there. There is a
Yeah.
stove and a sink, and so we
Right.
do have to upkeep those things
Right.
as well.
And then
Yeah.
we should also, if we're gonna do that, we need to make sure that it's cleaned out. Because there's been
Right.
times we've been in there for things and there's leftover things in there. So if we're going to charge extra for it, then we need to make sure that it is
Yeah.
clean every single time.
But I'm with you though, I don't wanna penalize the people who aren't gonna use it and
No.
raise that rent, just, you know.
Yeah.
You know, so if it's
Yeah.
not that big of a deal to keep track of it, keep it in there, I mean, like, what is your recommendation? What would you like to see happen? Marla?
Well, my recommendation was going to be to just maybe add it to the rental of the building and just increase it by like $40 an hour or something like that. Because we do have to take care of that space, and we do have, I mean, they have an ice machine that they are able to use. There's a fridge, you know, all of that comes with upkeep and so you know, and cleaning that space and everything.
I think we're getting enough slack right now and raising cost and charges that I would either leave it the same or just not charge it at all. I wouldn't add to it for the people who haven't been using it. I mean, that's just my thoughts.
I'm inclined to agree with Amy, because we're getting a lot of blowback on our charges anyway, because this is a publicly funded thing, but we do have a budget. And since it's used so little, and is Summer Discovery going to use that part-time this summer? Because they've used it in the past.
Yeah, they use it when the Miller building is being rented.
Okay. Okay, so,
I just leave them the same.
Okay,
Well,
that's fine.
it is coming sometime, review of all of the building rental rates to see how we are doing and, you know, and what we're able to do maintenance wise and upkeep and all that kind of stuff. I don't know that we're there right now today, but that is something that Marla and I've just barely touched the surface on, is rental rates and how we're not able to maintain and upkeep. So,
That's fine, we can leave it the same.
okay.
okay, so I do need a motion on changing the ordinance for you to take to city council, right, on the birthday party,
And the covered
the
bridge.
covered bridge, the Miller building additional costs, and the weekly Roberts building. Yeah, so I will need a motion.
To agree to this proposal here, I mean, we have in front of us.
Minus the kitchen of the
kitchen.
Roberts. The
Right.
Roberts building will stay the same.
With the Roberts
Right.
building,
Will stay the same.
kitchen, and rate will stay the
All right,
same.
is that a motion, Lloyd?
I'll move.
Okay.
I'll
And
second.
a second it, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. So then you will take this to city council and they will approve it or deny it and. Okay, that was all. Do we have any other old business? No.
No, mm-mm.
New business? Maintenance position update.
Yes, so you all would have received a letter in your packet that Pete Schoenfeld, our group leader for maintenance, has resigned. He has taken another position. And so I have added his letter to your packet for your review. And Randall Parrott, who is next in line as seniority, has agreed to be the group leader for maintenance. There is a 30-day trial, and he would like to go through that 30-day trial and see if it fits well for him and for myself. And but he has agreed to step up and be the group leader for maintenance. And then Kyle Burgoon, he is a part-time employee with us and has been here for 5 years, I believe it is. And he will be stepping up to take the third full-time position on maintenance.
So and then are we gonna have a part-time position available that, or are we gonna try to fill Kyle's position?
There will be, I would like to wait until after summer.
Okay.
I think that we have plenty right now for summer
Okay.
that is going to be able to, and the maintenance guys, they agree that
Okay.
we have a lot coming for this summer. But if it looks like once we're a month in, then I do have that option that we can hire a part-time maintenance.
I just don't, everybody's kind of moving up a notch and don't want to get them overwhelmed because they've not done that exact job before and might not know exactly what it entails.
Right,
We don't want to lose a valued employee.
definitely.
Well, you know what? I just want to say that I cried for a week when I heard Pete was leaving. He's going to be missed. He was great.
Yes, it was.
We wish him all the best. We understand why he is leaving on to bigger and better things. He will be greatly missed.
Yes.
When does Randall's 30 days start?
May 1st will be the first official day for Randall to take group leader.
All right.
Pete's last day is this Friday.
Okay. Well, we look forward to seeing Randall in his group leader position.
Yes.
All right.
The next thing on the list, and I just noticed that I did not add the pool chair, so that is in your packet, so we'll need to discuss
Yes.
that. So grant approval, we have a good opportunity to apply for a READ grant for our Living Well, Aging Well program. That will just help us to be able to order any supplies that we might need, promote the program, provide any kind of special classes or things. So Reed has a grant that's open right now, and Jalissa, I've been working with her, and so I just need approval to be able to take this to Board of Works and request to be able to apply for the Reed grant. I'm also going to apply for a mini grant through the foundation to see if we can receive that grant to purchase a couple computers for Summer Discovery.
Okay.
So those are the two grants that we'll be applying for.
All right. Do I have a motion for Marla to move ahead with grant requests approval?
I so move.
And a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, you have your approval. Motion passes.
Thank you. So the next thing, I've provided a couple options. So last year, the previous superintendent applied for a grant and received 2 grants, one from the foundation, one from Duke, to purchase a pool chair lift, and that was not purchased. And so I have a couple estimates in your packet for the pool chair. It was very difficult because not many people locally sell these. And so there were two. One, Sphere is a corporation that we've worked with for a long time, buying different chemical products and such from them through the years. So they were able to give us a quote, and then a local company out of Centerville also gave us a quote for a pool chair. They are very similar pool chairs to what we have. And so we just have to decide which one to take to the Board of Works to request to be able to purchase the pool chair. Also within that, a couple of those quotes is a vacuum. Pete and the guys told me that they have repaired the vacuum for quite a few years now. And if we don't get one this year, just to be on the radar that we will need one next year because it is on its last leg and they're hoping that it will make it through this year. So I went ahead and I put in a couple quotes for the vacuum as well. So just so that you're aware of that, if we want to purchase one, that would have to be a recommendation that I take to the Board of Works as well. So as I was getting the pool chair quote, I also got the quote for the vacuum as well.
So you just need us to decide which of these quotes for the pool, which pool chair to take to the Board of Works. That's
Yeah,
what we'll
I
do.
think I have to
And then
turn
the
in all the
vacuum-
quotes, but I would like to say what the board recommended.
Right, yeah.
Is there, you're saying
Yeah, what
there's-
was the grant for? How much?
From Duke.
I believe that there was 10 or 11,000 in the two combined.
So then the difference would just come out of our regular budget, or how's that gonna work?
It would have to come out of the pool budget.
So approximately $11,000. So about half would come from the grant.
This one includes
Well-
that really expensive vacuum.
Right.
So
But-
we're
but
just,
if
the
you-
grant only pays for the pool chair.
Right.
Yeah, so the
Yeah.
Sphere, the Sphere quote,
Has both.
it has both the vacuum
But
and
then
it
Ohlers
has the
is the
chair
separate,
both.
the two separate.
And then the Ohlers, those are separate, yes. So they provided two different, on one of them, two different prices for vacuums.
Vacuum, yeah, and then
And then the one price for the pool
the
chair.
pool chair.
That's about 7,000.
Well, it looks like that we can afford one of them with the grant that we received.
Right.
And the other one is kind of out of our price range.
Yeah.
Roughly,
Right.
they're both similar because of the, let me just do the math quickly.
The freight's cheaper, or the delivery shipping on one, the one at Ohlers versus the Sphere. About
There's
$70.
no shipping on the, on the,
So the Sphere
Ohlers
would
has
be
shipping.
12,757.
750 shipping.
yeah.
Yeah.
And this is the pool vacuum. And there's no shipping on that, and the pool chair, whoa.
Yeah, it's 3,000 more.
You said these chairs are similar. Is there any big difference to note on either one of them? No.
No, I, no,
So these two chairs are, you said these two chairs are very similar. We don't have a chair right now. We need a chair. Correct?
Right,
That's what-
we have
To be in
correct.
compliance.
Right, yes.
It was
Right, yeah,
actually-
we have to have a chair.
last year discussed and approved to apply for the grants to get the
Yes.
chair, but then I need approval to actually purchase the chair.
them.
So we could go with Spear on the chair, and then we could go with Ohlers because they're cheaper. Is that an option? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, that's a little bit of a difference there. So I would say if we're moving forward with it, my thought would be to go with the lesser of the if they're comparable, of course, we go with the lesser.
Yeah, they are.
Any thoughts on that? And then with Ohlers,
Well, 3 vacuums, or there were
there's
just 2 vacuums. But we don't have a grant to pay for the vacuum.
no, that would be separate.
And the vacuum that we have still works, but they're anticipating that it won't work for much longer. And what is the time frame in ordering and getting in vacuums these days?
Well, currently they're a 2-week
Oh, that's-
setback, so
Yeah.
it's not that long.
Okay, yeah.
But that was
And is that,
last Friday, so, or
Right.
2 weeks ago, whenever they told me that, yeah.
that's, not in our budget, anticipated costs. The vacuum is not in our anticipated costs for what's in the budget, right? So we don't really have money for that right now. Is that correct?
Yeah.
But we probably will have to find the money somewhere
Yes,
as soon as the one that works goes.
yes.
Okay.
Do you know how old the one is that we have? How long they're supposed to last? And,
I don't know
I
how
wonder
old
if
it
it
was.
was way over its,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, that's a good
Probably.
question.
If I were a guessing person, I would probably guess it's
I
been
would
there
guess
a
life
expectancy.
while
Yeah.
since they've had to fix it
Yeah.
many
And the-
times.
and
Although
the-
I'm sure it gets worked out.
And the person who uses it need to tell us what features are appropriate for them.
That's true.
Because each of these has different features, and it'd be nice to explore it. I wanted to go with the top one when I was looking at them, because it does everything by itself, sort of, but it's expensive.
Yes,
Right.
but it's also,
Price.
yeah, $5,000 more.
Right.
So make a motion to go with the Spear.
You can, yes, I have a motion,
All right,
right?
yep, I do with
the
Spear
Spear
contract on the lift chair.
Okay, I'll
It's
second
quite a
that.
bit less expensive.
All of those in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, there's your motion, and it's passed, Marla, to take that chair to the Board of Works for their approval, or that recommendation to the Board of Works. And then, do we need to make a do we need to make a motion on the vacuum? Is that what you're asking for? Is that just a heads up?
I needed to bring it to your attention.
Yes.
And let you know that it is something that we will have to purchase.
Okay. All right. Okay. And did I need a motion to accept Pete's resignation? Do I need, or is it just what
I
it is?
don't
and
believe so.
not on
They're
our,
gonna-
okay. All right.
And we do have enough, pretty much enough grant money to cover the lift chair.
Yeah, we'll have to support a little bit of it.
Okay.
You said 11.
11.9.
When does that grant have an expiration date on it? Sometimes they have to be used for the.
I have contacted them and they would like for it to be purchased this year.
Okay. Because some grants do have time limits on them.
And we have to have it before we open the pools, so.
Okay.
It needs
Oh,
to
yeah,
get,
yeah, or we're
Right.
not gonna be.
it needs to be purchased.
Or we're not gonna be compliant.
Right,
Okay.
with ADA standards, yes.
All right. That was all for new business, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Miscellaneous business. Hi, Andrea.
Hello. How is everybody? Fine.
You're a busy lady.
I have been, yeah, these past few weeks. I've been up.
You certainly do fine TV presentation, too.
Oh, goodness gracious. I've gotten lucky so far. Everybody's been so great to work with. It makes it a lot easier, right? So I am here to kind of update everybody on where I'm at with this health grant process, okay? I did hold the community forum last week, and it went really good. We could have had a better attendance, but it did go really good. We covered a lot of topics. And so far, everybody has really been on the same page. Everybody has really liked these ideas. I haven't really heard anything negative from anyone as to development in any of the areas. So far, what I'm seeing is just excitement. You can see these kind of projects come into the community. So this, Justin's going to display as well. I put this together for the community forum, so I'm just going to kind of speed through most of it and just remind everybody that these projects have to be tied back to COVID. My job right now is to focus on this grant and to keep the community up to date with what's going on throughout this entire process. This is the help grant timeline. We have really checked a lot off. We did another meeting today, and then we have 2 more this week, and by the end of this week, I'll be completely done with all the pathway meetings. So we'll be able to completely check that area off the list. I have the park board meeting tonight, and then I will go back to city council this following Monday, a week from now, and get the final vote, hopefully from city council. And if everything does pass, then we're just going to speed through it to the next phase. This is something, I just kind of wanted to put this here, so I wanted the community to be able to see it. These are some focus areas that we are talking about in these separate pathway meetings. These ideas are not going to be included with this help grant fund, but these are areas that I can use as direction to what to focus on next, is when I'm finished with this help grant process. So it's been a really, really engaging and educational experience for me, to really learn what we need, where we need some help, and what the community wants to see. I also focused on these 2 questions just really quickly because these were from the community survey that I did. The first one is, do you think the city needs to increase options for programming and facilities for physical wellness? 70% said yes. And the second one, I really wanted to showcase because it asks about mental health. Do you think landscaping, beautification, and art installations within the community have any impact on quality of life and mental health? And 80% said yes. And to me, that mental health was what I really wanted to showcase to everybody, that the community is really acknowledging mental health issues, that we all see a need, that we need to, as city and as parks, we need to kind of give more options to help address those issues, because we all experience it one way or the other. We all do. And these were all of the projects that were identified in the survey, and if you sit down and really look at this and look at the projects I'm going to propose, we really actually knock a lot of these out in just 3 projects. But that's all I wanted to cover for that part, and I will go ahead and move on to the projects themselves, okay? Not really much has changed, not really anything has changed. It's just hopefully a little bit more information for everybody. So we'll start at Roberts Park. We have the same idea there. The playground, the pump track, the skate park. All working around that shelter, definitely doing some updates in the bathrooms. The bathrooms definitely need it. We did have one discussion over the community forum about the actual playground location. And the way that piece of land sits, where the playground is at right now, the land actually slopes down. There's actually a good few feet slope. So when you're thinking about building a skate park or a pump track, that slope is actually perfect for certain features, like a bowl or something like that for the skate park. So there is a possibility, and I just want to keep everybody up to date with this, that when we get to this point of having an engineering firm design this, they might suggest that we move the playground east and actually put it kind of directly behind where the restrooms are, directly north of the restrooms, and take up that little corner there. And that was actually brought up in the community forum last week, and there was a member or two that really liked that idea. They thought that moving the little kids' playground away from the road a little bit more was actually a safer option, and kind of putting it back in that corner a little bit. So,
How about space? I'm trying to visualize that corner and visualize the space that is in. Is it going to be pretty equal as amount of space that's available for the little kids' playground?
yeah, and that's a big point that Marla has really made sure that I'm aware of, that we don't want to downsize
No.
that playground, the size that we offer, because that is the biggest playground that we offer for the city. So we want to make sure that we are still giving a large size playground like what they have now.
It would be nice to even make it better, because there are times of the day that playground is very congested.
It really is.
Yeah.
I know,
After
it really is.
after school in particular, there's a lot of kids there, and the kids cooperate with each other, but if it were a little bit bigger, they would not be so, it would cut down conflict, shall we say.
Yeah, I can see that. There's been a lot of talk, we would like to probably put some kind of fence around the playground. There needs to be some kind of fencing barrier between the playground and the skate park and pump track, just so little kids can't wander around. So even like a 4-foot high kind of fencing to go around that, to just completely fence off that playground.
A little bit more restrictive access.
just keep kids safe. Because we've all had little ones, I mean, almost all of us have had little ones. They, 1 second, you can just turn your head for 1 minute and, you know, you don't know where they are, so. But yeah, so again, that's an option. I won't know until we get to that phase, but it might work out. And from what I'm seeing so far, it might be a better option to do that.
Well, from a safety perspective, yeah, because that's right there by the entrance to the park. If you've got anybody using the Roberts Building or the basketball courts, that's a reasonably high traffic area.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
The restroom updates. I
Yeah.
saw on the breakdown of very, very rough draft costs.
Yes.
That, the roof overhang supports miscellaneous, and then heat pump and install, HVAC, air source. Will you be upgrading the stalls? I mean, like, does it get a whole complete overhaul, or is it, we're just gonna put a new roof on and heat it?
I mean, we're gonna have to do, I don't wanna say a complete overhaul, but it's gonna need some other miscellaneous things like stall doors for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
New toilets, I mean, like, are we talking, if we get a new sink?
It definitely needs new sinks for sure.
Yeah.
The floor probably needs to be refinished. And, yeah,
This, I mean,
we're gonna update the whole thing.
okay.
So it's a nice bathroom. And I didn't look at the men's side, but I don't think that the ADA is in full compliancy. And the
Not-
women's side either.
No,
There
it's
has to be
not.
handlebars and
You,
things
you,
like that.
the handlebars and also the height of the commode, if you're completely ADA compliant, is taller than the ones that are there now.
Okay, so the bathroom will get a nice redo on the inside, not just heat and new
Correct.
roof.
Correct.
Okay, all right, okay.
Yeah. So, and the next page is just a couple of different design options that you see. None of these are exactly what we're imagining in our mind, but there's a lot of different options. You know, I think we're kind of going around the idea of, you know, maybe putting like the skate park kind of in the center. It shouldn't have the front track flow all around it, so you can go in and out, but that is not my expertise. So hopefully I'll get to a point here in about a month or so where I can really start talking to designers about how we can do that.
We know the space that we have, how can we best use it to get,
Exactly, yeah, to get the best usage of the space. That it's safe and it's built well too. Yeah. So any questions so far? The next page is the bike trails. Just a very general map again. Oh, here, I'm so sorry, let's go back 1 second. This is not a guarantee, but this is just a really cool feature that I have found that Marla and I want to try to figure out how we can accomplish this. This is actually a company in Australia that makes these, they're called disability frames. And they offer they offer this as a free service to anyone that is disabled. And there's actually videos online of it. The kids absolutely love this. And you can actually just put that on the skate park. You have to have, I mean, they're secured and held in, obviously. We would have to look at liability issues and have, you know, some rules and regulations with it as to there needs to be a licensed therapist or caretaker there on site. But if we could find a way to offer this kind of service with the skate park and pump track, I think it would be a really, really beneficial feature and something that is not offered anywhere around here. So I thought that was exciting. I don't know if we're going to be able to pull it off, but that's something that I'm going to look into really a lot in the next month or two. So yes, back to the bike trails. We have been in contact with it's International Mountain Bike Association. We obviously haven't signed anything or any contracts or anything like that, but we just wanted to get some insight from them and just to see if there were companies that did stuff like this, and there definitely are. There are companies that will come in and actually bike through the woods and will map it out for you. You can do a short-term goal, long-term goals. You know, we could leave and we could be left with this situation with the long-term goals of where else to put trails, if we wanted to. But those are just some of the kind of features that we would like to put in there in the park.
Yeah, I don't like that one in the very middle.
Yeah.
That's too scary.
And you know,
I was kidding. It looks really, really fun for somebody else.
you'll go down it one day.
No, I won't.
I bet you are. I bet you would. I thought this one in the right corner was cool. It's actually a truck bed that they put wood table seatings on and stuff like that, and they had that out in the woods just as a sitting area for the family. But, you know, there's just a lot of options when we get to this point. There's an entire magazine of the different wooden features that we can buy and put in there, and there's a lot of different prices. They get rather pricey. So, but it's, you know, it's just interesting to see.
Well, I think this is a very unique idea and a great use of that space. I really wasn't aware that there were horse trails back there until the community forum. And so you had mentioned that these would be separate. You're not taking the horse trails and turning them into bike trails. It would be a separate trail for bikes. But to be able to use that property back there that doesn't get used is a very exciting endeavor for Fayette County. I think it's just something new and different and cutting edge and
and at some point here soon, Marla and I are going to have a conversation with. I don't think that the horse barns down there are actually attached to the fair board, but we need to have a conversation with the group that does use that horse barns and stalls, because they do take the horses out into the woods. So we need to be mindful of that and either designate them a certain area or just figure out how we can work together in this process, just so that they're aware that our intentions are not to completely kick them out of the wooded areas that they've been using for a long time.
Another focus, this is focused on bikes a lot and bike trails. I think we ought to move sort of toward walking. Like there's a bunch of ways that I since I've been back to Connersville 5 or 6 years, walking, there's tons of places where you can connect walking, go through the woods, we could connect them. And the same thing with the bike trails. You want to make it so that it's nice and bikey.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, you also want to have people who are 77 years old and able to walk from one end of Connersville down through the woods to the river and along and enjoy it and not have to worry about traffic so much.
Yeah, that's a very good point. We've had a lot of conversations about, they're called mindfulness paths. They're walking paths, but it's kind of the idea, I always forget what it's called, but like the storybook, where you have little, the storybook that they're putting in the trails.
And the nickel plate trail.
Yeah. The mindfulness trails is kind of like that, or you can just have regular printed signage, but the point behind the signage is to remind you to be mindful, be in the moment, be present. It's really good for mental health issues, just getting people to kind of stop overthinking and let yourself be in the moment.
Music.
Yeah. We've had a lot of conversations with how we can use what's going on specifically in Roberts Park to address the mental health and behavioral health issues that are going on with the youth and with all ages. We would like to do some partnerships with some of the nonprofits like Communities That Care, and even Band Fitness has mentioned that they would like to take part as well in offering events or special days there that are youth focused or kids focused, and we tie in different activities with that help with anger management, social anxiety. We have one female on one of our pathway groups that she is a youth counselor, and we've talked a lot about when she goes in the evenings, her job is she actually goes and picks up the child that she's counseling, and her job is to take them somewhere for about an hour and just spend time with them, interact with them. So the problem is that she doesn't really have a lot of places to take these kids to. You know, that's new to them, that's exciting to them. You know, to an 8 or 9 year old child, they don't want to go sit on a bench somewhere. You know, they want to do an activity. They want to do something fun. And this specifically would be a great interactional piece for them. We have a gentleman, Timothy Luke. I don't know if you guys have have heard of Timothy before. He's been the skate park advocate for a long time, trying to get something like this going on in the park. And he really would like to volunteer his time and do like a 1-month skating etiquette and skills teaching course that could be open to any age group, but maybe specifically to the kids, so that they're actually learning how to safely do tricks and different stunts or moves with a skateboard or wheels, and also kind of teach them this level of respect and awareness of the other individuals that are on the skate park, because you do have to be careful of what's going on around you in these situations, or you could get hurt, you know. But in the skater world, there are a lot of actual rules of being respectful of the people that are in your group or that are there all together at the skate park. So to me, I see that is a huge advantage to our youth, because I think that's something that is kind of missing from their morals. They're not being taught how to really respect things, how to take care of things. And so he's really willing to offer, excuse me, a free course like that, or just a free like Saturday morning group meeting kind of things where those things are covered, which I think would be a really great asset to tie with it.
Well, there's a big problem all around town with kids skateboarding, particularly on the schools and on the churches downtown, and it says, you know, no skateboarding here. Yeah, right. And the damage that it can do to the infrastructure is that cement there was not designed to have kids jumping off and on skateboards, because the materials just don't handle it. So that creates a negative attitude toward the skateboarders for the people that catch them, and they just don't have it. Their argument is, we don't have any place else to go. Yeah, and they don't want to do it it's no fun to go down the middle of the street. You've got to have something to jump off of.
Yeah, they do. It's what makes it fun. It's what gives that challenge, because you're actually building a skill with that too. You know, you're setting a goal and you're just keeping going until you nail it.
Yeah, but,
you know?
But going down the handrails at the middle school is not the way to do it.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. I see what you mean.
Yes, it is.
No, it's just, it creates all kinds of liability, and it's just not safe. But the kids are not going to think about that. They've got their board, and they're going to be cool, and they're going to try the trick that nobody else wants them to do, and it can be Reed with Emergency would like us, let's put it that way, because we're going to have some scraps and bruises and broken bones, unfortunately. But that's only going to get worse when the summer comes in, so.
Well, I don't want anyone to think that this is the final decision stage where I'm at right now. I'm going to be here several times throughout the rest of the summer, working through the finer details with you guys of how we want to really finalize these things. There'll be, we'll have to make a decision over wearing helmets. You know, if we want to put some kind of a regulation there, like 13 or younger, or 11 or younger must wear a helmet. That will have to be decided. Marla and I also have talked a lot with the Pathway group about setting maybe some kind of scheduling with it as well. We talked about possibility of being able to rent it, or rent a partial portion of it, so that it could generate a little bit of revenue with itself. It wouldn't be a large amount of revenue, but it's a possibility. Or I think Marley suggested maybe just renting out the shelter. That would give them access to that as well. But we also had talked about maybe designating set youth times or days as well. Like one evening a week, it's, from this hour to this hour, it's kids only. I've seen, as many people that are pro this, there are families that I've literally heard them say, I'm never taking my kid, I'm never going to let my child go to that skate park. And what I would like to do is kind of designate a specific time each week that it is more kid focused, so that those parents feel comfortable experiencing that, or testing it out and seeing what it's like, knowing that it's a kind of like a kid-friendly evening or a kid-friendly Saturday morning or something like that. But those are just suggestions and things that I would like to work with the board through the next few months, kind of figuring out. Okay. Another issue that we've talked about a lot is long-term maintenance.
And paving, you mentioned in the video, or in the council meeting.
Paving for the other spots, yeah. Well, for this one especially, it's a very, very expensive build, and it does, if we take care of it right, we have about 30, 35 years of it, but one issue that we're kind of starting to see is that we haven't been very mindful when we put in large projects, especially in the park, of the long-term maintenance. Of setting aside some kind of funds or having a set plan in place when these projects go in as to how we're going to fundraise or create more funds throughout the year and have a goal to reach towards, so that when we do get to the point where it needs long, expensive maintenance, we're prepared to do that. I don't have an answer for anyone on that, but that is something that we do need to be extremely mindful of. Marla has a idea that she was kind of running with, you think?
Well-
For how to raise more funds
On cost projection for
for the park.
upkeep.
Well, my recommendation, Andrea's talked a lot about adding an extra maintenance man to help with all of the upkeep of everywhere. When we have Office Park or River's Edge or, the woods in Roberts Park and everything. Something that I would like for the board to just be in thought of is, in order for the park to bring in revenue, we really need to start focusing on programs, tournaments, fundraisers, sponsorships, other ways to bring in revenue. And so that in the future, I believe, will also take another step to be able to fully focus on putting those events together and helping to find ways to bring in revenue. And so that would be a future thought, recommendation of, as we grow, we also have to explore new ways to bring in revenue to help support the park and also the upkeep of everything that we have in all of our parks. Playgrounds, restrooms, that includes everything that we do to supply all of our parks. The toilet paper, for all of the restrooms, trash bags for all the trash cans. When a picnic table breaks, we have to build a new one. So there's a lot of upkeep that that gets overlooked. And so moving forward in the future, that is something that I would recommend that we focus on, is where, and it might be where that member, if the grant was supported, I don't know, but that they come in knowing that they have to raise enough money to help support their salary, but also bring in extra revenue, because it is something that we do have to look at for the future.
And the likelihood of getting any more monies out of the city or the county is rather remote. In other words, we have a budget for the Parks Department. We have a budget for all of these things, and it's clear going forward that budget, unless it is increased probably more than we can increase it, then we're going to have to rely on more private funding. But we also have to depend on the locality to provide at least basic funding, and that creates a really difficult situation, because their funds are limited also. Do they have any more money in their budget to give us? Probably not.
Right. There's only so much that we can get from the city.
Right.
And so we really need to be able to upkeep and support all of our parks.
And that's pretty
And
bare
so
bones.
it's moving forward that this is something we should consider.
So we've got a lot of research to do the next few months, as to trying to find if there's another city or parks department that has found a creative solution to that. But that's something that I would like to focus on, definitely before this whole HELP grant process is finalized in September. If how we can somehow add this position in without adding it to the city budget, There just might be. You just never know till you dig in and look, you know. I just want everyone to just be aware that we are taking those things into consideration as well with this. That we don't want to stick the Parks Department with the project and, you know, not be able to maintain it. Okay. Any other questions about Roberts Park right now? Okay. So the next is Office Park. No plans have changed, but this is just an actual, just very general map, just to give you a little idea. These are the things that the HELP grant would cover: the fitness court, playground, walking paths, and exercise machines. The light poles, as far as I'm aware so far, will not be covered under the HELP grant, but I did, when I proposed this all to City Council last week, I did let them know that I probably will be coming to them to help pay for that part. One of the council members suggested, wanted me to look into getting a quote about putting privacy fence up along the back of the north and south neighbors. I haven't gotten that quote yet, but not a specific quote, but just a general estimate is probably going to be at least $20,000, if not $30,000 to put a total fence in, and that would require more maintenance as well. They would have to be mowed around more and painted every so many years or stained. So I don't know exactly how feasible that really is, but it is something I'm just going to go ahead and bring and to get that together for the next City Council member. Anyone have any thoughts on anything at Office Park?
Just the fence thing. I mean, why are they thinking all these years there's never been a fence separating the park from the people's residence unless they have a fence?
I'm thinking it's just out of courtesy to those landowners that, you know, we're putting on this activity in the park and that they're not losing their privacy from it. But it is a big cost, and it's, you know, it's not as simple as you just put the fence up and you never have to touch it again.
Yeah, there's that maintenance.
Yeah.
that
I'll be
upkeep,
surprised
that
if-
replacement.
We quoted fence recently, and I'll be surprised if 20,000 would cover fence for that. I think that's going to be a huge expense.
This is significant more activity than we've had previously. There's been the soccer, the foosball field, foosball field over there, but, and a couple of really bad basketball goals, but beyond that,
There's always been a park area. I mean, I grew up going
they
there. My
used to
grandmother
play.
lived there
Yeah.
for 50 years. I mean, I grew up going to the park there when I
Did you
was
get any
little.
feedback from any of the residents?
At the-
No,
On
I
these
honestly,
ideas?
I have not. I know I will have to do that.
Yeah.
Here soon. Once this all, in a few more weeks, I'm gonna have to go door to door and just talk to all these neighbors and let them know what's going on and get their general
A lot of
perspectives
those,
on it.
a lot of those are rental properties up there.
Are
A
they?
huge amount of those are rental properties. I mean, there's some homeowners, but there are a lot of rentals.
And a good amount of those homes already have privacy fence in their yard. So what I'm worried about is, you know, you have to follow codes. So their privacy fence and our privacy fence would have to be
distance.
spaced at a certain amount apart, which would, you know, it's more weeds to maintain and more just,
Obstacles to mow around.
yes,
and- yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I'll tell you a little story. When we have been working on Second Street Park, a family moved into a house right across from Second Street Park, specifically to be closer to the park. They saw that we were doing this. They heard that we were doing it. They haven't seen anything yet, but and they said, "This is where I want to be. I want to be able to see and go and send, you know, walk over there with my kids to play."
So maybe that'll be.
So, you know, I mean, I would love a park in my backyard.
Yeah, well, yeah, and, you know, putting this privacy fence up would actually seclude them. They would have
Right.
to, you know, go out the front and
Walk around.
around the block to get to the park.
So yeah, I applaud you for
Trying to.
thinking about those things and discussing them and including them and looking at all of this from all different aspects.
Well, and again, if anyone ever sees an aspect that I'm not considering, please let me know, because it's not intentional whatsoever. It's just a lot of things going on with the project. But yeah, so again, this will have to be designed a little bit more. But it's just a general idea of what we're trying to do there. And that fitness park, I'm really excited about that. That was a big, I don't know if I really expressed this last time I was here, but that's all ADA accessible too. So that would be a great outdoor space for Marla's living well, aging well, for anyone in a wheelchair or handicapped disabled. They could do physical therapy or health and wellness courses out on that.
Are we still looking at potentially a sensory type area or part of?
We've talked about putting features in all of the parks that go in. We haven't really talked about a specific, like, only sensory park, but just to be aware of, you have like a large playground, but then adding smaller features around that go into that. Do you think that makes sense? Yeah, ADA has been a big issue, a big topic, just because we really aren't in compliancy with any of our parks right now. But making sure that we add shaded areas, wheelchair accessible areas, but also adding in these sensory features that are part of the playground and not kind of a sore thumb sticking out from the rest. So
They're integrated.
yeah.
So
So the children feel like they're a part of the group, they're
Have-
part of other kids playing around.
do you have any, or has anybody visited one of these fitness parks that's being used right now do we have any in close proximity to us here in Connersville that have done something like this so we could get a bird's eye view or a real view of what is involved with this?
I have actually physically visited and worked out on one of these in Seymour. They put one in a couple of years ago, and Sean and I, his sister lives in Jeffersonville, so we passed through there, and so we have stopped there a few times and used it.
I saw one in a Freedom Park in Charlotte, North Carolina last year. It was fabulous.
Really?
When I saw the pictures, I go, that was the park, and it was well used. There was a lot of integration and being used by people with disabilities and able-bodied people, and it was just really cool. My 3-year-old granddaughter could play, and the older grandmother could play in the park. And both get good things out of it. So it's a fantastic thing if it's done properly.
And looking on that map, those locations aren't set in stone whatsoever. I honestly just threw those together on there just to see size of what all could fit. So we'll all get to a point hopefully in a month or two where I'll be able to work with an engineer to actually what goes best where, So then the next page is kind of is a very, very rough estimate of what we are thinking our kind of goals of spending limits are on different things. There will be some grant funding that I'm definitely going to start applying for like crazy. Once we all have this meeting with Okra on May 24th. After that meeting, if all these projects pass, that's my go-ahead to start applying for grants. So I've already got a lot in mind that I would like to start applying for, and so that's the goal. The more grant funding we can get, the bigger we can go with these builds. But those are all the general for the Roberts Park Office Park, and then River's Edge. If you look at the River's Edge page, these are the exact necessities we need to finish the ADA compliancy. That's with the parking spots, the drives, the path around the playground and the entrance to the playground, all of the materials we need for the restrooms, and then the septic tank. The connecting piping for that septic tank, and then the grading issue we still have not 100% determined. But the biggest thing that I wanted to talk with the park board about tonight is the actual baseball fields. Marla and I have had a lot of conversations about the need for a major league field out there. Right now, the way the park sits, they do 12 and under, so they only do minor league fields. So there really isn't a need that I'm seeing and Marla's seeing to put a major league field out there. If the park board decides that we don't need that, then that gives us extra space. Marla has suggested that we look into putting two flag football fields out there, maybe north of the current soccer fields, that those could also be used as soccer fields if soccer does grow and it gets to that point, but that there is more need for that. I think she maybe might want to introduce a flag football youth program
Ryan Lynch.
into it. That's a feeder program to the high school.
Ryan Lynch is very interested in doing that to build his program at the high school. And that's been not well organized over the years, pretty haphazard. I think the baseball issue, I think part of that comes in with some cooperation with the Connersville High School Athletic Department and the fact that we need another baseball field because we've expanded the baseball program into the middle school and the softball program into the middle school, and field space is huge. And it would do well, I think, for everybody to partner together in getting that kind of thing done. So what you're saying, if you didn't bring the Major League out to River's Edge, then it would be where it is now.
Well, actually, industrial field.
You've been to I'm sorry.
No,
Have you been to industrial field?
There is some space for like a phase 2 to put one field in over by where the possible football fields would be. Or we just put one football field in that is also a soccer field, and then we have room for that field, but it would be in another phase.
Well, I'm just thinking to upgrade industrial is going to be a very expensive situation because of just what's there and how it's been maintained, which is really nobody's fault, but it's not a good playing surface.
Okay.
And to upgrade that, there's no pitcher's mound. You got to have a pitcher's mound to do all that kind of stuff to bring industrial up to where it needs to be to actually be a viable baseball park. The cost might be very prohibitive, just because of all the work that needs to get done.
Okay.
It's adults in church league; they don't care so much. But when you've got kids playing on it, you have to be much more You have to be much more cognizant of playing surfaces and other kinds of things.
And
Adult-
parking.
Huh? There's no parking.
Not safe.
Except over on the
Yeah.
canal.
Yeah, the parking is a real
Which is
issue.
fine if you had a walking space over
Yeah.
to go over there.
Parking is an issue for the soccer games on Saturday morning.
Yeah, and that is taken into consideration with this plan as well.
Well, because if we had soccer and baseball, or soccer and football going on, I'm sure Pavy's New Market wouldn't be real happy, but we'd have half of their parking lot filled up, because the people were walking from Pavy's on Saturday morning.
Yeah. I think what we're hoping is to get 4 minor league fields in at River's Edge. Looking at tournament-wise, there are several other parks departments around us that have 4 fields.
Mhm.
There are none that have more than 4 fields.
Been in them.
If we did get 6, we would be at an advantage if we were looking at the tournaments in the long run. But to put 6 minor league fields out there, we almost could not put a major league field out there.
We did it with 4 fields.
Okay.
We did it with 4 fields down in the valley, and made some money off tournaments, but there was parking there, it was close proximity to downtown, there was good access to the Fifth Street restaurants and things that were going to be pretty well contiguous to what was going on. They could walk. So there was a lot of money came in that way, but we had parking, access, a lot of things that if you put it out in that area of River's Edge, you're going to create some of those logistical issues that might not make it as might not make it something that the people would be willing to come to, because in the parks that do the big tournaments, there's good parking, there's contiguous areas for the business, and you don't have the traffic problems, because out there on a Saturday morning, it's bad now. And if we had people, we would have, last tournament I did, it's been a number of years ago, but we had 4,000 people coming in during a day.
Yeah, that's a lot of people.
We had a lot of people and we took in a lot
Davies
of,
would love it.
huh?
Davies would love it.
Pavies would love us, yeah. I'm not sure the people that live in the neighborhood necessarily would, because you don't want those people parking in the neighborhoods. And you'd have to stagger your times, but it's certainly out there to make some money, but we've got to have the right facility in order to generate that kind of thing, and we've not done it for a while. But we did it with the 4 fields that unfortunately flooded for a long time.
Well, we're looking at the goal of putting in 4 minor fields, and it's 200-foot fields, so that can be used for the minor league softball and then also a kickball league if that was to take fire too. So that's what we're hoping the stages that it would start with the 4 minor fields and a t-ball field. Stage 2 would be additional parking with the flag football fields, and then stage 3 would be that major league field that would go in there if it's needed.
But that's in addition, that's after you get this
Compliant.
done. So the money that you have access to from the HELP grant, we're only talking about doing these things, the ADA compliance, putting in a septic system. There's no septic tank?
No, there's not. There's not under
So this is
that.
just to get it DNR.
So, yeah, so this is just to get some of these things done, and then after that is done, you're phasing out right now the future progress of that space to be able, so you have a full plan. So
Yeah.
that, and
'Cause
that is taking
what-
place between you and Marla and you and Marla, right? I mean,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, just
And the goal is we really need to become DNR compliant.
Right.
Compliant with DNR.
yes.
So that everyone in the community, as far as the city, the county, us as the park, we can apply for other funds to help go into River's Edge and whatever else that they can offer for us.
Right.
But we can't do anything until this list is completed.
Right, and we can't do
And
anything
so-
else
No,
out there until this list is
Exactly.
complete.
this is
So this
fulfilling.
is the stuff.
Yes, this is fulfilling
So,
the DNR.
this is like step 1 that you are moving forward with after you get approval, you know, and then you'll start working with the people to get this done. Meanwhile, you're still meeting about what the next step will be once this is complete.
Yeah, because
And that-
we're trying to eliminate double work or putting these parking spaces and drives in now.
Right.
And then having to go back in and tear them out, put
Right.
the fields in.
Yes.
So if we can get if we could get to a place where we're set with the long-term design out there, then we can even more confidently put in these ADA parking spots and things, and we won't have to tear them out later on. There is a possibility. What was discussed at City Council last week was they would like for us to go ahead and just run as well and just put in the parking spots that we need to, even if we do have to tear them out later, just so we can get back into that DNR compliancy.
I think for transparency, though, we all need to be on the same page. That doing this is only going to fulfill the DNR grant, so that we are eligible in future. But it's in no way, shape, or form going to get that ready for use, for public use.
For a while. That's gonna be.
And I think that's one of the things, I've listened to all the meetings, and I think that's one of the things we need to be very transparent about, is this is not going to be the quick fix that everybody's looking for usage of that facility.
It also have to be graded. and-
Exactly,
and level
which
out.
the other things are gonna come at a very high cost, and we need to be very clear to people that this does not include any way, shape, or form usage of that, because I think, from what I'm hearing out in the public, they think this is a quick fix to get that used, and it's not going to be.
Oh, yeah, no, because the grading is the biggest issue,
Right.
especially like if you've been out there between the playground and the concession stand, all of that area there on the west, it's almost an 8-foot difference.
It is,
There's
yeah.
a big difference there, and then you're also at the side of a hill, which, you know, long-term wise, it's going to erode that direction.
And you have drainage issues that are created by the,
Yeah. just
but,
by the waterfront.
And
I
if
think
you
that-
go look
yeah.
at some of the river along the area down through there, it's eroding very rapidly too. And so I think going forward, we have to look at those things as well as what's the erosion rate of that, and is that going to be something that, long term, what's going to look like 10 years from now? Because if you all remember the house that went into the river.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Well, no, and
yeah.
I
So,
think the frustration is there is a facility out there that looks like it's done, but we can't use it. And I
It's not
think,
done.
I think that's just the bottom line. Why can't we use that? Well, we can't use it because of all this stuff that
Yeah.
was not done.
Yeah, these are the specific things that 100% has to go in right now, that the HELP grant can pay for most of it. I did, I made it apparent to City Council that we would be asking for them to pay for the cost of the septic tank and the piping going in, and probably installation of that as well, and probably the light poles. They seem to be all in compliance with that, but I can't speak for them. I won't really know that answer until next
Well,
week.
it's like I think the frustration is it's just sitting there right now.
Yeah, but we could do these things
And then-
within the next year for sure, if this all passes and Okra accepts it. We could do these things, and the playground could be open, the amphitheater could be usable, and, the parks could start having events out there, and maybe some fundraising events out there, and using the concession stand. Now, the concession stand, I will tell you this as well, it is not set up inside at all. I mean, it's bare bones. I mean, it doesn't have fridges or counters or shelves, things like that. So that will be a whole nother quote that we can work towards down the line. But those costs are not in here whatsoever. Just be mindful of that. Okay? So it's not a quick answer. I mean, you're very right, and I appreciate you pointing that out. because
Yeah, I
don't
want to
look
be
into that.
very transparent, because even if we get the playground and set up, we know just from our experience with the concessions at the pool, how costly, a machine can be. What was the last one that we had to order, last fall, I think it was?
The
or-
fryer?
The fryer.
Yeah.
How expensive. So you start, even with that, you start, filling up and trying to do that to be, cost effective is going to be a big expense. And I read all of the comments, and I know that we're going to get beat up regardless of what we do.
Baby steps.
It's
And this
one
is,
step.
this,
Yeah,
and
but
and
it's-
keep
we've
in
got
mind,
this
it
foot
has to
first.
be done. It has to be done.
This foot first, and then the next one,
I
and then the
think
next
the
one.
important thing for the public to understand is that what you're trying to do is a long-term planning situation. So we know what we have, we know down the road, it's like your house. You have a roof that lasts 20 years. And you're in that house 16 or 17 years, and you better start figuring out, I might have to replace my roof. And so you make accommodations for that. We have to do exactly the same thing with our facilities, and we've not done a good job of that. We kind of waited till, we got to fix this without having long-range plans, and I think this is a real good start to long-range plans and planning.
That's the goal.
So, yeah, so we don't end up 10 years from now going, ooh, we should have done this 10 years ago. Well, yeah, and things are going to change, but if we have a longer-term plan, we're going to be just a whole lot better, I think.
Yeah. And if we can break it up into smaller, achievable goals,
Right.
then we just do one at a time, and we just keep going until we get there.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions, anybody? All right, that's all I've got. I will be back. I'll be
Thanks
back
for the warning.
maybe the next meeting or the weekend after, or the meeting after that. But just keep in mind, I will be back this summer as we work through all these financial.
Thank you.
Thank
You
you.
did a fantastic job.
Okay, so the Fair Board, I'm so sorry, you probably were under old business, new business, where you're not miscellaneous. I love the fair, I can't wait. Is it next week? Wait, no, we just got our pigs. It can't be next week. It will be here before we know it. I have to say, the fair is one of my favorite times of the year. So I like you guys a whole lot. We have the beginnings of our annual contract with you all, because as much as I like to stay on your side of the fence during Fair Week. The Parks Department provides a whole lot on our side of the fence during Fair Week, and I know that every year we get together and we talk about, okay, what was last year, what's next year, what did you pay for last year, what do we have to pay for this year, that sort of thing. And so, I don't know, Marla, did you retype this? It looks different.
The only thing that I did is I changed the dates
Okay.
of what the request of, I spoke with Amy Seiler earlier today. And so I changed the dates of what the agreement should say for this year.
Yeah.
And so I added, so they are requesting to be able to enter the park for setup on July 26th of 2023. And then they will be out by August 6th of 2023. And so they will start entering all of our buildings and space at that time. I also changed down at the bottom that they would be able to pick up their keys on July 25th for the office that they will use in the buildings. And then they will return those by August 7th and to us.
And that's
then-
all the normal timeline, right? I mean, that's
Yeah,
what we've done in the
that's-
past.
yeah.
I didn't change any of that. I just
Okay.
updated
Just-
the dates.
Yeah, okay.
And then their request I added in bold to the very back of the agreement. Their request is to guarantee that they have space, the park space for the next 3 years. They would like a standing 3-year contract with us, that they would come in and each year do their $3,000 donation to the park. But they would like for the contract to stand for 2023, 24, and 25. And that is what they are requesting.
The reason we're asking that,
You wanna come up
Yeah,
here?
could you? Thank you.
the reason we're asking for that is we just recently signed a 3-year contract with our amusement company.
Oh, right.
So
It makes
it's
sense.
it's hard to do, if something would happen to do a year to year, where would we go?
Right.
So that's why we're asking for a 3-year contract, so that way.
Where would you go?
Yeah.
Going on the other side.
Everybody's on
But then we'd have, where would all the campers go,
Right.
So
Yeah.
On the
that's why
same
we're asking.
page.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we're all on the same page, yeah.
And
Makes sense.
it totally makes sense. And have you had a long-term contract with your amusement company before?
We always do a 3-year
You always do-
contract.
Well, why didn't we do it? Never mind, I'm not asking. That would just seem to have made sense.
Yes,
It's just-
so that's really the only thing that we're asking,
I'd like to make the $3,000 negotiable year to year, just because, we don't know what's gonna happen with all the other expenses. Like, I just don't want to put the park in a position where we're footing more money next year and more money the next year. And, it just, as it is, I think our electric bills have been increasing
yes.
at a substantially higher rate than,
And that's something
What we're getting
that
back.
Marla and I talked about today. And I don't think it's anything on the parks part, or, I know, yes, we have vendors there, and it increases, but I also feel like there's probably a rate increase there from the electric company. Might be like a surcharge, because if you've gone over whatever. So I don't know, I'm not saying any, it is or it isn't, but I understand about the electric.
Because was it last year it was $5,500 is what
Yeah.
we were, yeah,
But could we
that
build?
was in 21.
21.
That was in
Okay.
21
So it's
that
2
we,
years.
yeah.
Okay.
Could we build something into the contract that allows for
Percentage.
of the electric rate? Because that's obviously going to be the biggest expense.
That would have to be something that the board would have to agree upon.
Right, yeah.
And stuff, so that's not my decision, that would be a board vote.
That would seem to be fair on both sides, because we know that you need the space, but we also have to consider our budgets just as you have to consider yours. And nobody likes their electric bill going up
No,
exponentially.
but we have to also understand, and I'm not taking anybody's side, but I think some people in the community think, well, okay, I can see their electric going up because of all the rides. He provides a generator. All the rides are off of that generator.
Wow.
It's their own.
Yes, they bring in their trailers and they have those big generators. The one thing that probably is the vendors, the setups and the food vendors. Of course, they're in there. So, and the amphitheater gets used like a lot that week.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, but that's what we're asking, and if you have any questions, we'll try to answer them, but everything's done by a board vote, so before we can get an answer on a question like that, a percentage.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. Since I've been sitting on this board, I like that yearly reminder. When we have to sign, when we have to review the contract, and I know that makes you guys maybe a little uncomfortable, a little uneasy. Oh, are you going to sign it? But I like that that's a reminder that we have to just say, hey, this is what we're doing for the fair. And, that communication back and forth, just to keep it all top of mind. We review what the bathroom situation is. We review,
Yes.
What our role is, what your role is. I like that yearly reminder.
I like that yearly reminder
Yeah.
too. I mean, where we can sit down and discuss things, but like we're looking for the future, for the long
Right,
term,
yeah.
because of the amusement company. So that year
Right,
we have
yeah.
to find the amusement company and then with you guys. So
Do they make you guys do that for 3 years?
yes, it's a 3-year
Okay,
contract.
gotcha.
So
Yeah.
what if?
Yeah,
There's
because
no
right
other
now,
options.
if we were to go away with our amusement company, we would
Might
not be
not
able to
find
find one
I'm following you.
for several years.
Yep.
Because they're locked in.
Yeah, they're locked
Yeah,
in
that
with
makes
other
sense.
places, but also we're finding out when we go to conventions and stuff that there's fewer and fewer amusement companies nowadays because
Sure.
it's so expensive to own one.
Right. Yeah.
That makes
So,
sense.
yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So you have something locked in and, yeah.
Yeah.
So what if we did the contract for 3 years with a provision that allows for a relook at the electrical usage from the prior year that would allow us to have a potential increase based on the percentage of use from year to year? So if we have a rate increase per se.
I'm sure the city attorney could do something like that.
But yeah, like do a contract for 3 years, fine, but just put a provision in there if that's what we're concerned about, that based
If
on
our rates
budget, if the
go-
rates were to go extremely high and then just say we're paying $7,000 and we're only getting 3, then we've got a budget for 4, where, can we put a buffer? That would be like a buffer, I guess would be a better.
And I'm sure that could be accomplished, because back in your head, you have to say, well, what if the park board, which I don't believe we would do, would not rent to us?
Right.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, that happened to an organization here in
Yes.
town.
I mean,
And I
and
see
you have to
that.
think about those kind of things, and we know that's not gonna ever happen, we hope not.
Right.
But you
But
just
you
have to
got,
prepare.
yeah, you have to prepare. We live in a different society than we did 20 years ago, so.
The same isn't
yeah,
always the same.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we just kind of have to work together on it, but.
Both sides have to be protected.
Right.
Both sides have to be protected here.
And we have done things for the park. When they redid a bunch of picnic tables 2 or 3 years ago, we gave a great big donation for that, for money. I mean, when they needed to use our man lift, hey, come on over, get it. We try to work with everybody,
Yeah.
and, you help us, we help you. And it's just gotta be a community.
gotta be.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And this is one, I mean, if you look at it, this is the biggest event in Fayette County
Ever.
Ever.
ever, yeah, ever.
Every year.
Yeah.
Every year, yeah,
Every year.
every year.
Every
So,
year.
It's also the most fun.
It is.
The longest running.
Yeah.
It is.
And
Yeah.
But, and just like you guys, we're all volunteers.
Yeah.
We're all volunteers. And there's 10 of us that sit on the executive board, and, you know, we meet every month,
Yeah.
sometimes twice a month. Come July, we meet every week.
Yeah.
So, you know, but we have to work together, and that's, you know, our reason we'd like to do a 3-year.
And I perfectly understand why you do.
Yeah,
Because you have budgets also.
right. I mean, what we make keeps that 14 acres running.
Right.
That's what it all goes back into. It's, you know, we have to buy, well, it pays the electric and the water, and then, you know, fixing up the stalls or buildings or whatever, you know. Our money goes right back into that 14, or what's called the 14 acres.
Right.
So,
You're a not-for-profit.
yeah, we are a not-for-profit.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so that's how we have to make, you know, to pay.
Paper, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
because
keep
we
it
have
going.
big liability insurance, just like, you know,
Yeah, just like
yeah,
we do.
everybody else, so.
Yeah.
And I don't think I think a lot of people think that the fair is a city, like the fairgrounds
Yeah.
belong to the city, and the Fair Association is a separate thing. It's
Right.
owned by the association.
With probably the hardest working volunteer group.
I don't know about that,
there
but
is.
we have a lot of fun, but we try to anyway.
Yeah.
But we try to get it done too, so.
And the whole community benefits.
They do. And you know, you see people that you haven't seen
Once a year.
once a year. You see them at the fair. And it's, you know, that's
And
always
you
kind of been
say,
the same.
I'm not
You see at
going
the
every
fair.
night, and then you find yourself out there every night.
Yeah, you do. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
it seems like when it takes us all year to get ready for it, and then that week is gone real fast.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh.
Super.
But
Yeah.
you sit back and you look, and the community, I think they love it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you do it. You try to do something to help your community.
Yes, yes, yeah, yeah.
So you can, you know, that's our proposal.
Uh-huh.
And if you make any changes to that, we
Yeah.
have to bring it to the board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys meet once a month.
Well, we're
Well,
going to
let's
start
see.
meeting twice a month, so our
month.
next
Okay.
meeting is May the 4th.
All right, and so Marla will just
Yeah.
work with you guys
Yeah.
on, yeah.
That's fine.
So I'd like to just, Marla, can you come up with something to email us all about?
What's your recommendation?
So I would recommend that we accept the 3-year contract with a provision to allow for increases based on electric usage and, you know, year to year,
Yeah, electric rates.
electric rates.
It's
year
like,
to year.
it's like you get on your light bill, the fuel surcharge.
That would be the only,
Yeah.
that would be the only
Just to
fee.
protect us if there's
Right.
just some ridiculously
Right.
huge electric, but you know, because I don't even, we didn't have time to ask for what was our electric bill
22.
last year.
Right.
You know, I'm still going off
Yeah,
of electric
exactly.
bills that I had from 2021,
I think
you know,
that
to
what
look,
I,
and so,
yeah, what I seen
History.
was like maybe 77, and I don't know, that's
that
the
was from
most-
21.
That was 21.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, okay.
And
Yeah.
so, you know, I don't even know what it was last
Yeah, I
year
don't
to
either.
make that call to see if it jumped even more.
But maybe
You
we
know,
can find
so-
that out just to kind of have an idea for you
Yeah.
guys, like what it was from 21 to 22. But yeah, I would make a recommendation to approve the 3-year contract with a provision for increase based on electric usage.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
A second.
All right, I've got a motion and a second. All of those in favor?
Aye.
All of those opposed? All right, the motion passes. Fantastic. Now, will you guys be coming back in July or August to talk to us more about your September event?
We can, yeah.
Just to let us know, because I mean, you know,
Sure.
good neighbors,
Oh, yeah.
fencing, parking,
Sure.
you know.
That's no problem.
So just, because from what I hear, you got a great concert coming in
We
in
do.
September, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
oh, we do.
yeah. More publicity, more, you know,
Oh, yeah.
for the 12 people who are watching this meeting.
Is that the Rolling Stones? Or-
Although we get more popular, so you never know.
Okay, so thank you all too for
Thank
all
you.
of your hard
Thank
work
you.
and for providing such a great
And sitting through this whole.
week long. Yeah, but you know what? It was good because I really wanted y'all to make sure that you were aware of what the proposals are if you hadn't you know, already sat through the city council meeting or the board of works meeting or the community forum meeting or you know anything else, just so you know what else is gonna be going on
Yeah.
in the park, back in the
I'm waiting on those.
woods
Right.
behind the track. So,
And tell your friends that are not watching TV3, you know, if somebody mentions something, you have the official information, and you have a really good networking program with the park board. You get a lot of people, so.
all right, public forum. Would you all like to stay here a little bit longer and chit chat on any other?
It's been fun.
Okay.
We're glad to have people in the audience tonight.
That's rare.
Yeah.
Okay, so no public forum. Oh, do you have, and Marla, you have some other things to discuss?
Just one more thing under miscellaneous, we need to decide on next month's meeting date. It is currently scheduled for Memorial Day.
Oh, no.
Well, let's not meet on Memorial
So we
Day.
need to discuss,
Last
What
time when we
date?
had to meet on Memorial Day, we met either, I think we met on that Tuesday after. Because this always happens.
So May 30th.
Is that all right? May
Tuesday.
30th, the Tuesday?
Does
Can we do that?
does
Is there
anybody-
another meeting?
Is that
You're the
council?
fourth Monday of the month,
Right.
right?
So that would be the
oh, it would be the
22nd.
22nd.
Oh, second tech, oh,
Yeah,
wow, woo.
Thank you,
So
Justin.
let's plan on meeting on Monday, May
Thank you.
22nd.
My apologies, everyone.
Perfect.
I
Perfect,
had
all
the
right.
last Monday in my
I even
mind.
have that already on my schedule. Okay.
Is it your birthday?
I'm glad that's not just
Party
me.
here.
My date was the 24th
Yes.
for school something.
Okay, claims. I've skipped right over claims, including payroll. Do I have a motion to
I
accept
move we
claims?
accept claims and payroll.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Anybody have any questions? Or no, sorry. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The claims and payroll are approved. You guys can get paid. Let's sign those papers.
Don't forget to sign the papers.
Yes.
I have the credits. Anybody have anything else?
All right.
No? No? All right. Anybody have a motion?
Adjourn.
Thank you, Vane. Does anybody have a second?
Second that.
I will call a vote. All of those in favor for adjourning this meeting.
Aye.
All of those opposed? Motion carries. Good night.